Billionaire goes to a Christmas date with no expectations until a poor mother and her daughter arrive, and he is left speechless. Matthew looked at the watch on his wrist for the 5th time. 7:52 p.m. She was late. He sighed and took another sip of ice water. The bar was completely packed for a regular Friday night in December. Electronic music thumped loudly from the speakers, mixed with yelled conversations, exaggerated laughter, and the constant clinking of glasses. The smell of spilled beer mingled with strong perfumes. Everything felt excessive. It was not the kind of place Matthew would choose. In fact, he hadn't chosen anything. His friends had insisted. You need to break out of your routine, man. Meet different people. Live a little. As if working 14 hours a day wasn't living. Matthew picked up the glass again and swirled the ice inside. His meetings had finished 2 hours ago, and he could be home now watching some mindless show or reviewing financial reports. Anything would be better than being there. Blind dates were always the same. Always. Women interested in what he had, not who he was. They would ask about trips, cars, expensive restaurants. No one wanted to know if he liked coffee or tea, if he preferred summer or winter, if he was afraid of anything. No one cared about that. He ran a hand through his hair and looked around. Couples glued to each other. Groups of friends celebrating something, waiters rushing back and forth. Everything seemed fake. Matthew had zero expectations. Maybe she won't even show up, he thought. It would even be a relief. He could leave, go home, and sleep early for the first time all week. But then the bar door opened. Matthew lifted his eyes without much interest, and froze. A blonde woman entered slowly, hesitantly, holding firmly onto a little girl's hand. The woman's golden hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, a few loose strands framing a delicate face. She wore a navy blue coat that seemed too thin for the cold outside. The purse hanging from her shoulder had frayed straps, but it was the little girl next to her who truly caught Matthew's attention. Small, looking about 5 years old, with light blonde curls falling over her shoulders and huge blue eyes that seemed to absorb everything around her. She looked at the entire bar with genuine curiosity. Matthew frowned. A child. In a bar like this. The woman stopped right after entering, clearly unsure. Her nervous gaze swept across the crowded room. When her light eyes met Matthew's across the corner table, she hesitated. She took a deep breath, as if gathering courage, and she started walking toward him, pulling the little girl by the hand. Matthew stood up automatically. The woman approached the table with hesitant steps, and he noticed how tightly she squeezed the child's hand. Nervousness, shame, perhaps. Jennifer stopped in front of the table. Her face was completely red. She opened her mouth, closed it, took a deep breath, and then said too quickly, "I'm so sorry, and I had to bring my daughter." Matthew was about to respond, but he didn't have time, because the girl looked directly at him with those enormous blue eyes and asked with total innocence, "Are you going to be my daddy?" The bar noise seemed to disappear. Matthew blinked, completely surprised. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Jennifer closed her eyes, mortified. Her face turned even redder. "Alice," she whispered, squeezing her daughter's hand. "We talked about this before we left. But you said you were meeting a special man. I told you not to say anything like that." Matthew remained standing, processing. But then something happened inside him. The question had been so direct, so genuine that he couldn't be annoyed. In fact, he felt touched. He crouched down slowly, getting to the girl's height. "Hi, Alice," he said in a soft voice. "My name is Matthew. It's nice to meet you." Alice blinked, surprised, and gave a shy smile. "Hi." Matthew stood up and looked at Jennifer. She still looked like she wanted to disappear. "I am so sorry," she started quickly. "The babysitter cancelled half an hour before I left, and I couldn't leave her alone, and I tried to warn you, but my phone ran out of battery, and I completely understand if you want to leave." "Jennifer," Matthew interrupted gently. "Breathe." She stopped and took a breath. "It's okay," he continued. "Seriously." Jennifer blinked, disbelievingly. "It is." "Of course it is." Matthew looked around. The music got louder. Someone let out a loud laugh 3 tables away. "But how about we go somewhere else? I know a really quiet diner. It's perfect for kids." Jennifer looked at him as if she hadn't understood. Are you Sure, we can reschedule. It's not bothering me. Matthew grabbed his coat. And this place isn't good even for adults, let alone a child. Alice tugged on her mother's shirt. Mommy, can we go? Please. Jennifer looked at her daughter, then at Matthew. She seemed torn between shame and relief. All right, she finally said, if you really don't mind. I don't mind, Matthew assured her, and he truly didn't mind. For the first time in months, Matthew was genuinely interested. The diner was 3 blocks away, on a quieter street. The place was small and cozy, with soft yellow lights on the ceiling, light wood tables, and comfortable chairs. The smell of fresh coffee, pancakes and bacon filled the air. Simple Christmas decorations adorned the walls, wreaths, twinkling lights, a few red and gold ornaments. Alice let go of her mother's hand as soon as they entered and pointed to the illuminated display case. Mommy, look, they have chocolate cupcakes, and that colorful cake, and cookies with frosting. We'll see, Alice, Jennifer said, but her voice was strained. Matthew realized she was mentally calculating how much everything would cost. A friendly waitress led them to a table near the window. Alice climbed onto the chair and leaned forward, watching everything with wide eyes. Christmas lights twinkled across the street. Look, Mommy! How pretty! Everything is sparkling. It is pretty, sweetie. Matthew picked up 2 menus and handed the colorful, illustrated one to Alice. What do you like to eat, Alice? The girl looked at her mother first, asking for permission. Jennifer nodded, though she still seemed uncomfortable. Pancakes, Alice replied excitedly, with chocolate and whipped cream and strawberries. Excellent choice, Matthew smiled. The pancakes here are the best in the city. And you, Jennifer? Oh, just a coffee is fine. Are you sure? They really are great. I've been coming here for about 3 years. Jennifer hesitated. She glanced quickly at the menu and looked away. I'm not very hungry. Matthew didn't insist, but when the waitress came to take the order, he asked for fries, onion rings, chicken nuggets, and a strawberry milkshake. To share, he said casually. Jennifer opened her mouth to protest, but he was already handing the menus back. When they were alone, Alice rested her elbows on the table and looked at Matthew with childlike curiosity. What do you do for work? Alice, Jennifer reprimanded quietly. It's not polite to ask things like that. But I just want to know. It's okay, Jennifer, Matthew smiled. I work with hotels, Alice. I have a few scattered around the city. Alice's eyes widened. Like the hotel in the Eloise movie, the big one with a staircase and everything. Something like that. Wow, Alice looked impressed. I've never been to a real hotel. I only saw it on TV. Matthew felt a pang in his chest. He quickly looked at Jennifer, who avoided his gaze and started fiddling with the napkin. Well, hotels are cool, he said, turning his attention back to Alice. But tell me, what do you like to do? Draw, she replied without hesitation, her eyes sparkling. I draw every day. Princesses, castles, flowers, butterflies, everything I imagine. Really? That's great. I'd love to see your drawings someday. Really? Alice brightened even more. Really? And I like to play at the park too, but we don't go much because my mom works a lot and when she gets home she's very tired and… Alice, Jennifer murmured, visibly uncomfortable. Matthew noticed and quickly changed the subject. I have nephews and a niece your age, Alice. 2 boys and 1 girl. They also love to draw. Seriously? Alice perked up again. What do they draw? Everything. Giant dinosaurs and superheroes, princesses. Once my youngest nephew drew a giant green dragon eating pepperoni pizza. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Alice threw her head back and laughed loudly. That's funny. Dragons don't eat pizza. I thought it was strange too. Matthew continued talking to her, asking questions about her favorite colors, her favorite cartoons, if she liked school. Alice answered everything excitedly, gesturing with her hands, and little by little, Jennifer began to relax. Her shoulders dropped. She stopped nervously messing with the napkin. She didn't say much, but she smiled a few times, and Matthew noticed how her face looked different when she smiled. Softer, lighter. When the food arrived, Alice attacked the pile of pancakes with enthusiasm. Within 3 minutes, she had chocolate on her face, on her hands, and even on her nose. Jennifer grabbed napkins and tried to clean her, but Alice wouldn't stop moving. Alice, I hold still for a second. But it's yummy, Mommy. I know, but you're all messy. Matthew watched the scene with a subtle smile. There was something so genuine, so real about it, that he caught himself thinking that he couldn't remember the last time he had felt so good on a date. Jennifer finally managed to clean her daughter's face and sat down again. She picked up a French fry hesitantly, as if she was still unsure if she was allowed. "Feel free to eat whatever you want," Matthew said. "I ordered it precisely so we could share. Thank you." They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Alice swung her legs under the table, happy, taking big sips of the milkshake. After Alice finished, she yawned. It was a small yawn, but Jennifer noticed immediately. She looked at her wristwatch, a simple one with a worn strap. "I think it's time for us to go," she said, picking up her purse. "Hold on just a second." Matthew grabbed a paper napkin from the table. Jennifer and Alice watched him, curious. Matthew began folding the napkin carefully, his hands making precise movements. In less than a minute, he had created a perfect little paper airplane. He handed it to Alice. "For you to keep." The little girl's eyes shone as if she had received the greatest gift in the world. "For me? Really?" "Of course." Alice took the little plane with both hands, as if it were fragile and precious. She held it against her chest and gave him the biggest smile. "Thank you. I'm going to keep it forever." Jennifer looked at Matthew, and he saw something shift in her expression. The initial distrust gave way to a different emotion, gratitude, maybe something more. "Thank you," she said, her voice softer. "For everything, for your patience, for your kindness, for not leaving when you saw I brought her." "I would never leave," Matthew replied, sincerely. In fact, this was the best part of the night. By far. Jennifer blushed, but it wasn't out of shame. Matthew paid the bill without letting Jennifer see the amount. She tried to insist on paying her share, but he was firm. They walked out onto the street together, and the December cold hit their faces. Alice huddled into her thin coat, clutching the paper airplane against her chest. "Are you taking the bus?" Matthew asked. "Yes. The stop is just around the corner." "Let me drive you home." "No, you really don't have to." "Jennifer." He looked into her eyes. "It's cold. She's tired. Let me help." Jennifer bit her lip. She clearly wasn't used to accepting help, but after a moment she nodded. "All right, thank you." Matthew's car was discreet but clearly expensive. Jennifer noticed but didn't say anything. Alice sat in the back seat and immediately stared out the window, fascinated by the Christmas lights. During the ride, Jennifer gave directions in a low voice. Matthew didn't ask questions about where they lived or why the building looked so old when they arrived. He just drove in respectful silence. When he parked in front of the building, small, with peeling paint but clean, Jennifer already had her hand on the door handle. "Thank you again," she said, opening the door, "for everything, truly." "It was my pleasure." Matthew turned to Alice in the back seat. "Take good care of that little plane, okay?" Alice nodded sleepily, but held the paper airplane tight. Jennifer got out and helped Alice out. She closed the door, but before walking away, she turned and looked at Matthew. "Good night, Matthew." "Good night, Jennifer." He waited until they both entered the building and the door closed. Only then did he start the car and drive away. Inside the bus that would take them home, because Jennifer hadn't told him they still needed to take public transportation, Alice rested her head on her mother's shoulder. The bus was almost empty and swayed gently. "Mommy," Alice murmured, her eyes already closing. Are we going to see Matthew again?" Jennifer looked out the window. The city lights rushed by, creating colorful blurs in the darkness. She didn't know the answer. She didn't know if a man like Matthew, polite, kind, clearly well off, would want to keep seeing a single mother who could barely make ends meet. But a small, hopeful part of her wanted to believe he would. "Maybe, sweetie," she whispered, running a hand through her daughter's blonde curls. "We'll see." Alice smiled even with her eyes closed. She held the paper airplane against her chest with both hands, as if it were a treasure. And Jennifer felt, for the first time in a long time, that maybe life could surprise her in a good way. Jennifer rubbed the cloth on the marble counter of the lobby for the third time. It wasn't dirty, but she needed to keep her hands busy. Her head was elsewhere. "You're going to wear down the marble if you keep wiping it like that." Jennifer looked up and saw Sharon standing next to her holding a bucket and smiling. Sharon had worked at the hotel for 15 years and had known Jennifer since her first day there, 3 years ago. They had quickly become friends. "Sorry," Jennifer mumbled, dropping the cloth. "I was distracted." Distracted is an understatement. Sharon put the bucket on the floor and crossed her arms. "You've been miles away since you arrived." "What happened?" Jennifer hesitated. She hadn't told anyone about the date, not even Sharon. But now, looking at her friend, she felt like talking. I went on a date yesterday." Sharon's eyes widened. "A date?" "Jennifer Miller went on a date." She smiled even more. "Tell me everything, now." Jennifer looked around. The lobby was empty at that hour of the morning. The manager was in his office. No one would hear them. "It was a blind date," she began, lowering her voice. "My cousins set it up. I didn't even want to go, but they insisted so much that I finally agreed." "And how was it?" Jennifer took a deep breath. "It was complicated. The babysitter cancelled half an hour before I left. Literally half an hour. I called everyone I know, but no one could watch Alice." "Oh no," Sharon made a face. "And you couldn't reschedule?" "My phone was dead. I had no way to let him know." Jennifer picked up the cloth again, just to have something in her hands. "So I took Alice with me." Sharon's eyes bulged. "You took a 5-year-old child to a date." I know." Jennifer closed her eyes, feeling the shame again. "It was awful, Sharon. The place was a crowded bar, loud music, that whole adult vibe. I walked in holding Alice's hand and wanted to die of embarrassment." "What did he do?" Before I could properly explain, Alice looked up at him and asked, "Are you going to be my daddy?" Sharon let out a loud laugh, then covered her mouth. Sorry, but that is so Alice." "I wish the floor would open up and swallow me." Jennifer shook her head but smiled a little. "I thought he was going to run away. Any normal man would have run away. But he didn't run." "No." Jennifer stopped cleaning and looked at Sharon. He crouched down to her level and introduced himself. He was kind, Sharon. Really. He didn't get annoyed. He wasn't uncomfortable. He was perfect with her. Sharon tilted her head, interested. "And then he looked around and said that the place wasn't good for children." Jennifer felt warmth in her chest, remembering. "He suggested we go to a diner. Said he knew a quiet one. Perfect for Alice." "He suggested that?" "He did. I offered to reschedule, but he insisted." Jennifer smiled faintly. "The diner was lovely, Sharon. Small, cozy, with Christmas lights and the smell of coffee. Alice was enchanted." Sharon pulled a chair closer and sat down, curious. "Go on. I want to hear everything." Jennifer sat beside her. He talked to Alice all night, asked about drawings, favorite colors, school, made her laugh telling her stories about his nieces and nephews. She wrung her hands. And it wasn't forced, you know. He genuinely seemed interested in what she was saying. "He has nieces and nephews." "He does. 3. Alice's age." Jennifer took a deep breath. "And guess what else? When the food came, he ordered a bunch of stuff to share. Fries, onion rings, nuggets. Said it was for all of us to divide. I tried to pay my part, but he wouldn't let me." Sharon was smiling now. "He paid for everything." "He did. And at the end," Jennifer felt her eyes well up a little, "he made a paper airplane out of a napkin and gave it to Alice. You should have seen her face, and Sharon. She held that thing like it was gold. Where is the little plane now?" "On her bedside table. She didn't let go of it all night. She slept holding it." Jennifer quickly wiped the corner of her eyes. "No one has ever done anything like that for us. No one." Sharon took Jennifer's hand. "And how are you feeling about all of this?" Jennifer was silent for a moment, confused. She admitted finally. "Scared, maybe. I don't even know who he really is, Sharon. We talked all night, but I barely know anything about him. Just that he owns hotels and is kind and you liked him," Sharon finished. Jennifer blushed. I I don't know. It was just one date. Jennifer, look at me. Sharon waited until Jennifer looked up. You are glowing. I've worked with you for 3 years and I've never seen you like this. Not even when you talk about Alice do you get that look. What look? Hopeful. Sharon smiled affectionately. You are hopeful. Jennifer bit her lip. What if I'm building up too much expectation? What if he doesn't call again? What if it was just him being polite and nothing more? What if he does call? Sharon countered. What if he is exactly who he seems to be? A good man who liked you and your daughter. Good men don't exist, Sharon. They do exist. They're rare, but they exist. Sharon squeezed her hand. And the way you're talking, this Matthew might be one of them. Jennifer wanted to believe that. God, how she wanted to believe. He was amazing with her, Jennifer repeated, more to herself than to Sharon. Alice won't stop asking when she'll see him again. And what did you tell her? That maybe, Jennifer sighed. Because I don't know, Sharon. I really don't know. Sharon stood up and pulled Jennifer up too. You know what I think. I think you should stop worrying so much about what could go wrong and start thinking about what could go right. That's easy for you to say. I know it's hard. Sharon held Jennifer's face in both hands. You've been through a lot. You raised Alice alone, you work yourself to the bone, you never have time for yourself. But maybe, just maybe, this is the chance for something good to happen in your life. Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. What if I don't know how to handle it? You'll learn. Sharon hugged her. The same way you learn to be a mother, to pay bills, to survive. You are stronger than you think, Jennifer. Jennifer returned the hug fiercely. Sharon always knew what to say. When they separated, Jennifer wiped her tears and smiled. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. Sharon picked up the bucket again. But promise me one thing. What? If he calls, give him a chance. For you and for Alice. Sharon winked. And tell me all the details later. Jennifer laughed, finally relaxing a little. I promise. Sharon walked away but turned back. Oh, and Jennifer. Yes. This Matthew, is he handsome? Jennifer blushed completely. Sharon! Her friend laughed loudly and left, leaving Jennifer alone with her thoughts. She picked up the cloth again but couldn't concentrate. Her head was full of images from the night before. Matthew's smile, the way he had crouched down to talk to Alice, the paper airplane, the gentle way he had looked at her. Jennifer shook her head, trying to focus. But deep down, a small, growing part of her was starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, Sharon was right. Maybe something good really could happen in her life. Jennifer was washing the breakfast dishes when her phone vibrated on the counter. She dried her hands on a cloth and picked up the device, expecting it to be some overdue bill or advertisement, but it wasn't. Matthew. Good morning, Jennifer. I hope you and Alice got home safely yesterday. Her heart skipped a beat. She reread the message 3 times before replying. Jennifer. Good morning. Yes, we arrived safely. Thank you for asking. She bit her lip, unsure what else to say. 3 dots appeared on the screen. He was typing. Matthew. Does Alice still have the paper airplane? Jennifer smiled without realizing it. Jennifer. Yes, she slept holding it. She put it on her bedside table as soon as she woke up. I think it's her treasure now. Matthew. I'm glad. She's a special girl. Jennifer. She is. Thank you for being so kind to her yesterday. Matthew. You don't need to thank me. I really enjoyed the evening. Truly. Jennifer stared at the message for a long moment. Her heart was racing. Jennifer. I enjoyed it too. It was a simple but honest answer, and apparently it was enough because Matthew kept chatting. The next day, he texted again, this time asking how her day had been. Jennifer replied, talking about work at the hotel, about how tired she was, but that at least it had been a quiet day. Matthew said he had spent the day in boring meetings. On the 3rd day, he asked what she liked to do in her free time. Jennifer, free time? Does that exist? Lol, just kidding. When I have some time, I like to read, but I don't get much time. Matthew, what do you like to read? Jennifer, anything, really. I borrow books from the library near home. romance, suspense, even self-help sometimes. What about you? Matthew, I like biographies and science fiction, believe it or not. Jennifer, seriously, I wouldn't have guessed that. Matthew, why not? Jennifer, I don't know. You seem more like the type who only reads serious stuff, business books and things like that. Matthew, I read those too. But at the end of the day, I like something that makes me forget about spreadsheets and meetings. Jennifer smiled, looking at her phone. She was starting to enjoy those conversations. On the fourth day, Matthew asked about Alice. Matthew, how is Alice? Did she enjoy school today? Jennifer, she's doing great. She came home excited because her teacher praised her drawing. She spent the entire afternoon drawing more things. Matthew, what did she draw about? Jennifer, a diner with cupcakes and Christmas lights. I think you know which one. Matthew, she drew the diner from the other night. Jennifer, she did. And she put 3 people inside, a blonde girl, a blonde woman, and a man with dark hair. It took a few minutes for Matthew's response to arrive. Matthew, that makes me very happy, Jennifer, more than you know. Jennifer felt a good feeling tighten in her chest. The conversations became daily. Matthew would text in the morning wishing her a good day. In the afternoon, he would ask how work was going. At night, they would talk about everything and nothing. Jennifer began to wait for those messages. She picked up her phone constantly, checking if there was anything new. Sharon noticed and wouldn't stop teasing her. A week after the date, the conversations deepened. Matthew, can I ask you something personal? Jennifer, you can. Matthew, Alice's father. Is he around? Jennifer stared at the message for a long time. No one asked about that. People avoided the subject. Jennifer, no. He left when he found out I was pregnant. I never saw him again. Didn't want to either. Matthew, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Jennifer, you don't have to be. Alice and I are fine. It's always just been the 2 of us anyway. Matthew, you are incredible. Raising a child alone, working, managing everything, it's a lot. Jennifer, you do what you have to do, right? No choice. Matthew, there is a choice. You could have given up, but you didn't. That makes you strong. Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. No one had ever said that to her before. Jennifer, thank you. That means a lot. That night, it was Jennifer's turn to ask a personal question. Jennifer, what about you? Why was a man like you on a blind date? Matthew, a man like me. Jennifer, you know, successful, polite, kind. There must be women interested. Matthew, oh, there are, but interested in the wrong person. Jennifer, what do you mean? Matthew, they like what I have. The money, the hotels, the lifestyle. No one wants to know who I really am. No one asks what makes me happy or what scares me. They just want to know where I'm dining or what car I drive. Jennifer, that must be lonely. Matthew, it is very much. That's why I agreed to the blind date. I thought maybe it would be different. Jennifer, and was it? Matthew, it was. You showed up with Alice, all awkward, apologizing, and I thought, finally, someone real. Jennifer didn't know how to respond. Her heart was pounding. Matthew, sorry if I was too intense, but it's true. Jennifer, you don't have to apologize. I understand. The days passed and the conversations only increased. Matthew talked about the pressure of managing the company, the weight of expectations, how sometimes he felt like he was living the life others wanted for him. Jennifer talked about the constant fear of not being enough, about sleepless nights worrying about money, about the guilt of not giving Alice everything she deserved. Matthew, you are giving her the most important thing. Jennifer, what is that? Matthew, love, presence, security. The rest is secondary. Jennifer, sometimes it doesn't feel like enough. Matthew, but it is. Believe me, I know people who had everything materially and nothing emotionally. Alice is lucky to have you, Jennifer cried, reading that message. She cried out of relief, gratitude, and something she couldn't quite name. 2 weeks after the first date, The conversations had become an essential part of her day. Matthew, is Alice doing well today? He always asked, always. Every day there was a question about Alice, how she was, what she did at school, if she was happy. Jennifer, she's great. She said she wants to show you the new drawings she made. Matthew, I would love to see them. Jennifer, seriously. Matthew, seriously. She is important to you, so she is important to me too. Jennifer stared at that message for a long time. Something was growing there. Something real, something that scared and thrilled her at the same time. She didn't quite know what it was, but she knew she didn't want it to stop. Jennifer. Matthew. Matthew. Yes. Jennifer, thank you for everything, for talking to me every day, for asking about Alice, for caring. Matthew, I do care, Jennifer, more than you know. Jennifer smiled, feeling a tear run down her cheek. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just surviving. She was feeling something real, something good, something worthwhile, and that changed everything. 3 weeks after the first date, Jennifer was leaving the hotel when she saw Matthew's car parked around the corner. She stopped, surprised. They had planned to meet, but she thought it would be later. Matthew got out of the car and waved. Hi. Hi. Jennifer approached, adjusting her bag on her shoulder. You're early. I finished early today. I thought I'd pick you up, he smiled. If you want me to, of course. Jennifer looked at the bus stop a few blocks away. The bus was always late. Sometimes she waited 40 minutes in the cold. I do. Thank you. On the way to pick up Alice from school, Matthew asked about her day. Tiring, Jennifer admitted. There was an event at the hotel today. Lots of people, lots of mess to clean up. Do you work every day? 6 days a week, sometimes 7 when I need extra shifts. Matthew was quiet for a moment. That must be exhausting. It is, Jennifer looked out the window, but it's what I have for now. The salary isn't great, but it pays the bills, almost all of them at least. She didn't go into detail. She didn't talk about the sleepless nights calculating money, the times she skipped meals so Alice would have enough, the constant fear of not being able to cope. Matthew didn't ask further. He just held her hand for a second before returning it to the steering wheel. When they arrived at the school, Alice ran out. Matthew! She jumped into his arms as if it were natural, as if he had always been there. Matthew picked her up without hesitation. Hi, little one. How was school today? Good. The teacher said my drawing was beautiful. Alice showed him a crumpled paper with a colorful drawing. Look. It's amazing, really. Matthew examined the drawing carefully. Is it a castle? It is. With a princess and a friendly dragon. Friendly dragon, that's cool. Jennifer watched the scene with a tight heart. Alice was getting attached. Too quickly, perhaps. But Jennifer didn't know how to stop it. And the truth was, she didn't want to stop. Can we go have hot chocolate? Alice asked, hopefully. Matthew looked at Jennifer, asking for permission. You can, she said softly. The coffee shop was small and cozy. Alice sat between them, swinging her legs on the tall chair. Matthew ordered 3 hot chocolates and cookies. With whipped cream? Alice asked, her eyes shining. With whipped cream, Matthew confirmed. When the drinks arrived, Alice licked the whipped cream and made a funny face, leaving a white mustache on her face. Matthew laughed and wiped it with a napkin. Jennifer watched everything, the ease with which he interacted with Alice, the natural way, no forcing it, not acting like he was doing a favor. Matthew? Alice called. Yes. Are you going to stay with us forever? Jennifer froze. Matthew did too. Alice! Jennifer began, but Matthew interrupted her gently. He crouched down to be at Alice's height. I want to be with you as much as I can, he said honestly. If your mom lets me, of course. Alice looked at Jennifer. Will you let him, Mummy? Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. I will. In the following days, their meetings became frequent. Matthew would show up after her shift. Sometimes he brought hot coffee on cold days. Other times, he just stood and chatted while they waited for the bus that Jennifer insisted on taking. On Saturday, he took them to the park. Alice ran to the playground immediately. Matthew and Jennifer sat on a nearby bench watching. "She's happy," Matthew commented. "She is." Jennifer pulled her coat closer. It was cold, but the sun helped a little. "It's been a while since I've seen her this excited." "And you? Are you happy?" Jennifer looked at him. "I'm starting to believe I can be." Matthew held her hand, intertwining their fingers. "You deserve to be happy, Jennifer. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it." She looked at Alice on the swing. "I work all day. I come home exhausted. I wake up early, take crowded buses, come back on crowded buses. There's no time left for anything, not even for myself. You're doing the best you can. But it feels like it's never enough." Jennifer felt her voice crack. "There's never enough money, never enough time. I am never enough." Matthew squeezed her hand. "You are giving everything. That is more than enough." Alice ran back. "Come push the swing." Matthew stood up. "I'll go. Your mum needs to rest a little." He went with Alice, and Jennifer stayed there watching the two of them. Matthew pushed the swing gently, and Alice laughed loudly. He seemed genuinely happy doing it. Jennifer felt something different growing inside her. Security. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like she was carrying everything alone. The following week, Matthew took them to the children's library. Alice was amazed by the number of books. She ran between the shelves, picking up a bunch of them. "Can I take all of these?" "Let's choose 3 to take today," Jennifer said, "and we'll come back for more later." "Will Matthew come back with us? If he can." "I can," Matthew replied immediately. "We can come every week if you want." Alice cheered and went back to the books. Jennifer looked at Matthew. "You don't have to do this." "I know, but I want to." "Why?" Matthew hesitated, choosing his words. "Because both of you are important to me. Because being with you makes me feel good. Because I want to be here." Jennifer felt her heart race. "I want you to be here too." Then it settled. Alice came back with 3 princess books. Matthew sat down with her on the library floor and started reading. Alice rested her head on him, listening intently. Jennifer watched, feeling her eyes water. That wasn't just Alice getting attached. It was her too. She was getting attached to Matthew, to his presence, to the security he brought, to the way he made her feel that everything could work out. When they left the library, Alice was holding both their hands. "Look, Mommy, we look like a family." Jennifer and Matthew exchanged glances. Neither of them said anything, but they both thought the same thing. Maybe they looked like one because they were becoming one. That night, after putting Alice to bed, Jennifer sat on the bed and looked at her phone. "Jennifer, thank you for today, for all the days, actually." "Matthew, you don't have to thank me. I love being with you both." Jennifer reread the word love several times. "Jennifer, Alice is very attached to you." "Matthew, and you." Jennifer took a deep breath before answering. "Jennifer, I am too." "Matthew, that's good, because I'm not planning on going anywhere." Jennifer smiled, feeling a tear roll down. For the first time, she believed it. For the first time, she felt that maybe, finally, she didn't have to carry everything alone, and that changed everything. 3 weeks after the first date, Jennifer pushed open the coffee shop door and paused for a second, locating Matthew. He was sitting near the window, looking at his phone. When he looked up and saw her, he smiled, but his smile faded as she approached. Jennifer knew why. She had seen her reflection in the glass door. Her eyes were swollen, her face pale, her shoulders slumped. She was exhausted. "Hi," she said, letting her bag drop onto the chair next to her. "Hi." Matthew stood up and hugged her. Jennifer allowed herself to stay there for a few seconds, soaking up his warmth. "Are you okay?" "I am." She pulled away and sat down, avoiding his gaze. Matthew sat down too, but didn't take his eyes off her. "Jennifer." Look at me." She looked reluctantly. "You're not okay," he said softly. "What happened?" Jennifer took a deep breath. She didn't want to break down. She didn't want to be that woman who complained about everything. But she was so tired. So tired. "It was just a tough day." She tried to minimize it. Jennifer, we've known each other for almost 2 months. I know when you're not okay. She bit her lip, feeling her eyes sting. Her voice failed. I'm so tired, Matthew. Tired of what? Of everything. The words came out before she could stop them. Of work, of the bills, of never having enough money, of waking up every day, knowing that no matter how hard I work, it's never going to be enough. Matthew took her hand across the table. Tell me about it. Jennifer looked at his hand enclosing hers. It was so easy to lean on him, so easy and so scary at the same time. My salary is so low, she began, her voice trembling. Sometimes I feel like I'm always running after something and never catching up, never. How much do you earn? Matthew asked gently. Jennifer hesitated. She had never talked about this with him. She felt ashamed. It's not much, she said vaguely. Jennifer, I'm not judging. I just want to understand. She took a deep breath and said the amount. Matthew didn't react visibly, but she saw something change in his eyes. And with that you pay rent, food, bills, he said, more to himself, and Alice's school supplies, and clothes when she grows, which is all the time, and medicine when she gets sick. And Jennifer stopped, feeling her throat tighten. And there's never anything left, Matthew. Never. I live counting change, calculating whether I can buy an extra loaf of bread or if I have to wait until the next paycheck. Matthew squeezed her hand. Today I got the electricity bill, she continued, the words now coming in a rush. It was higher because it's cold and we need to use the heater. Rent is due next week. Alice needs new shoes because hers are too tight, and I don't know how I'm going to do all of this. Jennifer, I work 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I wake up at 5 in the morning. I take crowded buses. I work all day cleaning, bending down, on my knees, carrying heavy things. I come back on the bus again, which is always late, and when I get home it's almost 8 at night. She felt a tear roll down. And Alice is already hungry, needing attention, wanting to play, and I am so tired I can barely stand. Hey, look at me. Matthew stood up and pulled his chair closer, sitting beside her instead of across from her. You are doing an incredible job. It doesn't feel like it. Jennifer wiped her face with the back of her hand. It feels like I'm failing at everything. You are not failing at anything. His voice was firm. You are raising a child alone, working to exhaustion, managing everything. That is not failing, Jennifer. That is being incredibly strong. I don't feel strong. I feel tired. Matthew took her face in both hands, forcing her to look at him. You've been carrying everything alone for a long time. His eyes were intense, sincere. Let me share some of that weight. Jennifer felt her heart pound. Matthew, I can't. Why not? Because it's not your responsibility. She looked away. Alice and I are not your responsibility. What if I want you to be? The silence that followed was heavy. Jennifer looked at him, vulnerable, scared. I don't know how to let someone help me, she admitted in a low voice. I've always done everything by myself. I know. Matthew ran his thumb across her cheek, wiping away another tear. And I won't invade your space. I won't do anything you don't want. But let me be here. Let me help in any way I can. How? In simple ways. He smiled slightly. Let me pick you both up sometimes, so you don't have to take the bus. Let me bring you coffee when you're tired. Let me be present. Jennifer felt more tears streaming down. Why are you doing this? Because I care about you. Matthew said it as if it were obvious. And about Alice. Very much. Jennifer couldn't hold back anymore. She collapsed onto his shoulder and cried. She cried out of tiredness, relief, fear, gratitude. She cried everything she had held back for the last few months, the last few years. And Matthew just held her, stroking her back, letting her cry. It's okay, he murmured. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. In the following days, Matthew kept his word. He didn't do anything grand or invasive, just small things that made a difference. He would show up at the hotel at the end of her shift with hot coffee and a snack. So I thought you might be hungry, he would say simply. He would drive her and Alice to the bus stop and wait with them until the bus arrived, even when it was late. He would text during the day, asking if everything was okay, if she needed anything, how work had been. He didn't offer money because he knew she wouldn't accept it, but he offered presents. And for Jennifer, that meant more than anything. One Thursday night, after a particularly difficult day, Jennifer was sitting on the old sofa in her apartment when her phone rang. It was Matthew. "Hi," she answered, tired. "How are you?" "Exhausted. The hotel was packed today. There was a wedding. Lots of mess." "Did you eat?" Jennifer looked at the kitchen. She had made pasta for Alice, but hadn't eaten anything herself. "Not yet. I'm around the corner. I have Chinese food. Can I come up?" Jennifer wanted to say no, that it was a mess, that she was a mess, but the truth was, she wanted to see him. "You can." 15 minutes later, they were sitting on the living room floor, eating straight from the takeout containers. Alice was already asleep in her room. "Thank you for this," Jennifer said between bites. "You don't need to thank me." Matthew smiled. "I was hungry too." They ate in comfortable silence. When they finished, Jennifer rested her head on his shoulder. "Matthew? Thank you. For everything. For not giving up on me even when I'm difficult." "You're not difficult. You're cautious. It's different." He kissed the top of her head. "And I won't give up, I promise." The following Saturday, someone knocked on the door at 9 in the morning. Jennifer opened it, still in her pajamas, and found Matthew holding a tray with coffees and a bag of donuts. "Good morning," he said, smiling. "Matthews, what are you doing here?" "I brought breakfast. Can I come in?" Jennifer stepped aside, letting him pass. Alice appeared from her room, with messy hair and sleepy eyes. "Matthew!" She ran and jumped on him. "Good morning, little one. I brought donuts." "Seriously?" Her eyes widened. They ate breakfast together at the small kitchen table. Alice chattered about a cartoon she had watched. Matthew laughed at her stories, and Jennifer just watched. They looked like a family. After breakfast, Matthew suggested, "How about we go to the park?" "Again!" Alice jumped up excitedly. "Why not?" At the park, Alice ran to the playground while Matthew and Jennifer sat on a bench. "Didn't you have anything to do today?" Jennifer asked. "I did, but I'd rather be here." "Matthew, what?" "You don't have to do this. Spend your Saturdays with us. You have your own life." Matthew turned to her. "Jennifer, you are my life now, or at least a very important part of it. I'm not here because I have to. I'm here because I want to." Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears again. "I don't know what I did to deserve you. You just were yourself." He held her hand, "and that is more than enough." They spent the entire morning at the park. Matthew pushed Alice on the swing, helped her on the slide in twine, and played tag until he was out of breath. Jennifer laughed more that morning than she had in months. When the sun was high, they decided to leave. At the bus stop, waiting for the bus that would take Jennifer and Alice home, Alice held both their hands. Matthew looked at the small hands holding theirs and then looked at Jennifer. She was looking down too, at the scene they formed. "Jennifer," Matthew said softly. She looked up. "What we are building here is special." His voice was filled with emotion. "Very special. And I want you to know, I would do this every day if I could. Be with you. Be a part of your lives. Every day." Jennifer felt her heart vibrate in her chest, vibrate in a way she had never felt before. "You're already a part of it," she said, her voice catching. "You are already a part of us." Alice squeezed both their hands. "Look, Mommy, we're together like a real family." Matthew and Jennifer looked at each other over the girl's head, and they both knew, in that moment, that this had stopped being casual a long time ago. This was real, this was profound, this was forever. The bus arrived, but before Jennifer could board, Matthew pulled her close and kissed her. It was a quick, soft kiss, but full of promise. "I'll pick you up again on Monday," he said. "All right. And Jennifer?" "Yes?" "Thank you for letting me in. Into your life, into her heart." He looked at Alice. "It means everything to me." Jennifer smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for wanting to stay." She got on the bus with Alice. As the vehicle pulled away, she looked out the window and saw Matthew still standing there, waving. And Jennifer knew with absolute certainty that her life had changed forever, for the better. 3 months after the first date, Matthew had become part of Jennifer's routine. He was there on Thursdays when she got off work, waiting with coffee. He was there on Saturday mornings, bringing donuts for breakfast. He was there on Tuesday nights, when Alice had art class at school and they picked her up together. He was simply there, and Jennifer no longer knew what life was like without him. "Mummy, is Matthew coming for dinner tonight?" Alice asked on a Wednesday afternoon, while Jennifer was preparing pasta. "I don't know, sweetie. He didn't say anything. But he always comes on Wednesdays." And it was true. On Wednesdays, Matthew would show up after work and they would have dinner together. Nothing elaborate, just simple food, quiet conversation, Alice telling stories about school, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Jennifer's phone vibrated. "Matthew, leaving the office now. Should I stop by the store and bring dessert?" Jennifer, "That would be great. Alice is already asking if you're coming." Matthew, "Tell her I'm on my way." Jennifer smiled, looking at the message. She showed it to Alice, who cheered. 40 minutes later, Matthew was sitting at the table with them, eating simple sauce pasta and talking about the day. "So, Alice, how was school today?" "Good. The teacher let us draw whatever we wanted. I drew you, Mommy, and me at the park." "Really? Can I see it?" Alice ran to her room and came back with the drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands, a yellow sun in the corner, green trees all around. Matthew looked at the drawing for a long time. "It's perfect," he said, his voice a little rough. "Can I keep it?" "You can," Alice beamed. Jennifer watched the scene, feeling her chest tighten. This was too good, too perfect, and that scared her. After Alice went to sleep, Jennifer and Matthew stayed in the living room. She sat on the old sofa, he beside her, so close that their shoulders were touching. "You're quiet today," Matthew commented. "Everything okay?" "I'm just tired." "Jennifer, I know when you're just tired and when something more is going on." She looked at him. At those eyes that truly saw her, that always saw her. "I'm scared," she admitted softly. "Of what?" "Of this," she gestured vaguely. "Of you. Of us. Of everything that's happening." Matthew took her hand. "Why are you scared?" "Because it's too good." Jennifer felt her eyes sting. "Because I'm not used to good things. And when things are too good, I wait for them to go wrong. It won't go wrong. You can't promise that. I can." Matthew turned her body to face him. "Jennifer, I'm not here by chance. I'm not passing the time. I'm here because I want to be, because both of you are important to me." "For how long?" "What do you mean?" "For how long will you want this?" Her voice trembled. "For how long until you realize we're too much baggage? A single mother, a child who isn't yours, a complicated life full of problems." Matthew took a deep breath. "Look at me." He waited until she raised her eyes. "You are not baggage. Alice is not baggage, and I am not leaving." "How can you be sure?" "Because I have never felt this before." His voice was low, intense. "Never. I've had relationships, Jennifer. I've had women in my life. But I never felt this peace, this certainty that this is where I want to be." Jennifer felt a tear roll down. "I haven't felt this either. And that scares me even more." "Why?" "Because I don't know how to live like this." She wiped her face. "I spent so long just surviving that I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to trust that something good can last." Matthew pulled her into a hug. Jennifer sank into him, breathing in his scent, feeling his solidity. "We'll learn together," he murmured against her hair. "I'm learning too, but we'll learn together, okay?" Jennifer nodded against his chest. They stayed like that for a long time, in silence, just existing together. In the following weeks, their intimacy grew. It wasn't physical yet. Matthew never pressured her, never suggested anything beyond what Jennifer was ready to give. It was a calm intimacy, natural. He knew the coffee she liked. He knew she preferred tea at night. He knew she tied her hair back when she was stressed. He knew when she needed silence and when she needed to talk. And Jennifer learned about him too. She learned that he woke up early, even on weekends. that he liked classical music when he drove, that he had a scar on his arm from when he fell off his bike at 8 years old, that he had always dreamed of having a family. They knew each other, really, but something started to bother Jennifer. Matthew spoke about work vaguely. He never went into detail. She knew he had hotels, but she didn't know how many found, where they were, or what his exact position was. He always deflected when she asked, not rudely. He just changed the subject. One night, she decided to ask him directly. "Matthew, why don't you ever talk about your work?" He was washing dishes at her sink. He paused for a second. "I do." "No, you don't. You mention it, but you never go into detail." Jennifer leaned against the counter. "Why?" Matthew dried his hands and turned to her. "Because it's not important." "How is it not important? It's your life." "My work life." He approached her. "When I'm here, I want to forget about that. I just want to be myself. Not the businessman, not the company owner. Just me." Jennifer understood, but something still bothered her. "You own hotels," she said slowly. "How many?" "A few." "Matthew," he sighed. "Several. Scattered across the country." "You're rich, aren't you?" The silence was answer enough. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jennifer felt a pang in her chest. "Why did you hide that?" "I didn't hide it. I just didn't make a point of highlighting it." Matthew took her hands. "Because it doesn't matter, Jennifer. Money doesn't matter. Not for what we have." "Of course it matters." She pulled away. "I don't even know who you really are, Matthew. I don't know anything about your real life. You know everything that matters. Do I?" Jennifer looked at him, confused, scared. "Or do I only know what you wanted to show me?" Matthew looked hurt. "Do you think I'm pretending?" "I don't know." Her voice rose, and she quickly controlled herself, remembering Alice was asleep. "I don't know what to think. Because the more I get to know you, the more I realize there are things you're not telling me. Everyone has things they don't tell. But these things matter." Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. "Because I am letting you into my daughter's life. Into my life. And I need to know who you really are." Matthew took a step toward her. "I am who you see when I'm here. This is me, Jennifer. The real me. Not the one who appears in business magazines or corporate events. This one. The guy who loves being here with you both. This is me." Jennifer wanted to believe him. God, how she wanted to. But doubt had settled in, and she didn't know how to shake it off. "I need time," she finally said. "To process all of this?" Matthew nodded, clearly hurt, but respecting her request. "All right, I understand." He grabbed his coat and walked to the door. Before leaving, he turned around. "Jennifer, I'm not hiding anything important. I just wanted you to get to know me as a person first, before everything else." He looked deeply into her eyes. "And I hope one day you see that who I am here, with you both, is who I truly am." He left, and Jennifer remained alone in the living room, heartbroken and confused. Who was Matthew Carter, really? And why did she feel like she was about to discover something that would change everything? Jennifer was cleaning the hotel lobby when she heard the TV turn on at the reception desk. Normally she didn't pay attention, but something made her stop. It was a business show, and the name they had just mentioned made her freeze. Matthew Carter. She dropped the cloth and walked slowly to the reception desk, where Sharon was watching. "What is that?" Jennifer asked, her voice sounding strange. "Oh, it's that special about successful businessmen." Sharon pointed to the screen. "This guy owns like half the hotels in the country. Matthew Carter. Have you heard of him?" Jennifer couldn't answer. On the screen, Matthew was in an impeccable suit, smiling during an interview. Images flashed by showing huge hotels, skyscrapers, luxurious commercial centers, all bearing the A. Carter Enterprises logo. The reporter spoke animatedly. "Matthew Carter, at only 35 years old, is considered one of the most influential businessmen in the country. His conglomerate includes 27 five-star hotels, 15 commercial centers, and various real estate ventures. With a fortune estimated in billions, Carter was recently awarded Businessman of the Year for the third consecutive time." Jennifer felt the floor disappear beneath her feet. Billions. 27 hotels. Businessman of the Year. "Jennifer," Sharon called to her. "Are you okay? You look white." Jennifer didn't answer. Her eyes were glued to the screen, where Matthew, her Matthew, was greeting important people at gala events, speaking at conferences, appearing on magazine covers. That wasn't the man who sat on her living room floor eating simple pasta. That wasn't the man who pushed Alice on the swing. That was someone else entirely. "I need to—" Jennifer grabbed her purse. "I need to go." "Jennifer, your shift doesn't end for another 2 hours. I'm sorry, Sharon, I need to go now." She left before her friend could protest. Jennifer arrived home trembling. She picked up her phone and searched Matthew Carter on Google. Hundreds of results appeared, photos of him at events, articles about his businesses, interviews, awards, an entire life she knew nothing about, a life he had hidden from her. She threw the phone onto the sofa and covered her face with her hands. How could she have been so stupid? Of course something was strange. The expensive car he tried to be discreet about, the impeccable clothes, the way he never worried about money. And she, idiot, had believed he was just an ordinary businessman. Her phone rang. It was Matthew. She let it ring until it went to voicemail. It rang again and again. On the 4th time, she answered. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice came out harsh, cold. Silence on the other end. Then, "You found out." "Found out?" Jennifer laughed without humor. "I saw it on the TV at the hotel where I work cleaning floors. I saw you receiving awards, giving interviews, surrounded by important people. I saw who you really are." "Jennifer, let me explain." "Explain what? That you lied?" "I didn't lie. You omitted." Her voice rose. "You let me believe you were just a guy with a few hotels, not a billionaire. Not one of the most important businessmen in the country. Can I come over?" "No. Jennifer, please." "I said no." She was crying now. "I don't want to see you right now. I need to process this." "All right." His voice was broken. "But listen to me, just for 1 minute, please." Jennifer was silent, tears streaming down. "I didn't tell you because I wanted you to get to know me first. As a person. As a man. Not as a CEO or a billionaire or any other label." Matthew took a deep breath. "I've had relationships before, Jennifer. Several women have been in my life. And you know what they wanted? Money, status. To show up at parties, wear expensive clothes, travel to exotic places. None of them wanted to know who I really was, none of them." Jennifer didn't say anything, but she kept listening. "They were shallow, opportunistic, superficial." His voice became more intense. "And when I met you, with Alice, apologizing for bringing her, all awkward and genuine, it was different. From the first minute it was different. Because you saw me as a person, not as a bank account. But you lied about who you were. I didn't lie. I just didn't highlight a part of my life that didn't matter when I was with you both." He paused. "With you, Jennifer, I could be myself. Just Matthew. The guy who likes to eat simple pasta, who pushes a child on the swing, who spends Saturday morning having coffee with you. This is me. Not the guy on TV, this one." Jennifer wiped her tears. "I don't know who to believe. Believe in what you lived, in what you felt." His voice was desperate now. "Believe in the last 3 months, in every moment we spent together. That was real, Jennifer. Everything was real. But you are rich." She said the word like it was a disease. "Really rich. And I am. I am me. A cleaner who barely pays the bills, who takes the bus, who wears old clothes. How could this ever work? It works because we care about each other, because what we have is real. It's real for you." Jennifer felt her voice fail. "But for me it's terrifying, because I don't belong in your world, Matthew. I never will belong. You belong in my heart." His voice was broken. "And that's the only world that matters." Jennifer covered her mouth, sobbing. "I can't do this right now. I need time. How much time? I don't know." She wiped her face. "Just give me some time, please." Matthew was silent for a long moment. "All right, I'll give you time." He took a deep breath. "But Jennifer, I'm not giving up on you, on Alice, on us. I'm just giving you space because that's what you need. But I'm not giving up." "Okay. And Jennifer, I'm sorry. For omitting it. For hurting you. But I'm not sorry for anything we experienced together. Because it was the most real thing I've ever had in my life. She hung up before he could say anything else. And then she broke down. She cried out of fear, out of confusion, out of the feeling that she had lost something before she even truly had it. Alice appeared in the bedroom doorway, sleepy. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Jennifer quickly wiped her face. "It's nothing, sweetie. Go back to bed." "Where is Matthew?" Jennifer's heart broke a little more. He's not coming tonight." "Why?" "Because—" Jennifer didn't know what to say. "Because sometimes things get complicated." "Did you fight with him?" Alice looked on the verge of crying too. "No, sweetie. We didn't fight. We just need some time." "But will he come back?" Jennifer didn't know the answer. "I don't know, Alice." Alice started to cry, and Jennifer hugged her. The two cried together, feeling the absence of someone who had become essential, and Jennifer knew in that moment that she had made a decision. She needed to step back, not because she didn't love him, but precisely because she did. And love, she knew, sometimes hurt too much to risk. 3 days passed. Matthew texted on the first day. "Matthew, good morning. I just wanted to know if you are both doing okay." Jennifer stared at the message for 5 minutes before replying. "Jennifer, we are fine." That was all she could manage to say. On the second day, he tried again. "Matthew, is Alice okay?" "Jennifer, she is." On the third day, the message was different. "Matthew, I respect your space. I won't text you again until you are ready, but know that I am here. I always will be." Jennifer read that message and cried, and she didn't reply. Matthew was in his office and staring at the computer screen without really seeing anything. "Are you okay?" James Isay, his business partner, asked from the doorway. "I am." "You look terrible." James walked in and sat down across from him. "What happened?" Matthew ran a hand over his face. "Jennifer found out. About the company. About everything." He sighed. "She saw it on TV. She was shocked. Hurt. And now she doesn't want to talk to me anymore." "Did you tell her why you didn't tell her before?" "I did, but it didn't help." Matthew looked out the window. "She thinks I lied, that I'm not who she thought I was." "And are you?" "I am." He looked at his friend. "Everything I experienced with her was real, James. The person I was with her and with Alice, that's the real me. The rest is just work. Then give her time. If it's real, she'll realize it." "What if she doesn't?" James had no answer for that. Matthew went back to staring at the computer, but his mind was far away. It was in a small living room eating simple pasta. It was in a park, pushing a blonde girl on the swing. It was holding the hand of a woman who made him feel whole. He picked up his phone and looked at Jennifer's last message. "She is." One word. Cold. Distant. He wanted to call. He wanted to show up at her door. He wanted to explain again, make her understand. But he had promised to give her space, and he always kept his promises, even when it hurt. Alice was sitting on the sofa, hugging the paper airplane Matthew had made weeks ago. "Mummy, why doesn't Matthew come anymore?" It was the 5th time she had asked that day. Jennifer was in the kitchen, pretending to be busy. "I already told you, sweetie. He's busy. But he always came even when he was busy. It's different now." "Why?" Jennifer didn't know how to explain to a 5-year-old that her world and his world were completely different, that she was scared, that she was confused. "Sometimes things change, Alice." "But I don't want them to change." The little girl's voice trembled. "I like Matthew. I miss him." Jennifer closed her eyes, holding back tears. "Me too, sweetie." "Then why doesn't he come?" "Because—" Jennifer turned around and knelt in front of her daughter. "Because sometimes we need some time to think, to understand things." "But how much time?" "I don't know." Alice started to cry. "Did he leave like my dad? Doesn't he like us anymore?" Jennifer's heart broke. "No, sweetie, it's not that." She pulled her daughter into a hug. "He likes us. Very much. It's just that—" It's complicated. I don't understand. I know. Jennifer held Alice tightly against her chest. I don't quite understand either. That night, after putting Alice to bed, Jennifer stayed awake. She picked up her phone and opened Matthew's old messages. She reread everything, every conversation, every kind word, every question about Alice, every genuine moment, and then she opened Google again. She saw the photos of him at events, in an impeccable suit surrounded by elegant people. In that world she knew nothing about, how could those two versions be the same person? Sharon found Jennifer in the hotel locker room on the 5th day. You're running away from him. Jennifer didn't deny it. Did he text you? Not since the 3rd day. Jennifer closed her locker. He said he would respect my space. And do you want this space? I need it. Do you need it? Or are you scared? Jennifer looked at her friend. Both. Sharon sighed and sat down on the bench. Jennifer, can I tell you something? Go ahead. I saw you two together. I saw the way he looks at you, the way he is with Alice. She took her friend's hand. That wasn't faked, it was real. I know it was real. Jennifer sat beside her. But he's a billionaire, Sharon. A billionaire. I clean hotel floors. I take the bus. I can barely pay rent. How is that going to work? Maybe it works precisely because you are different. Or maybe he'll realize I don't belong in his world and leave. Or maybe, Sharon squeezed her hand, you are creating problems that don't even exist yet because you are afraid to be happy. Jennifer felt the tears coming. I am terrified, Sharon. I know. Her friend hugged her. But Alice is suffering. You are suffering. And I'm sure he's suffering too. Is all this suffering worth it? I don't know. Then find out. Talk to him. For real. Lay everything on the table. Sharon pulled back and looked into her eyes. Because if you let fear decide, you're going to lose the best thing that ever happened in your life. That night, Jennifer was lying in bed when her phone vibrated. Her heart pounded. Was it Matthew? But it wasn't. It was a message from an unknown number, with a photo attached. Jennifer opened it. It was a photo of Matthew in a park. He was sitting on a bench, alone, staring into space. The photo had been taken from a distance, but she could see his expression, empty, lost. The message read, "He is like this every day. He goes to the park where you used to go, stays there for hours. I don't know who you are, but he is suffering." James, Jennifer stared at the photo for a long time. He was suffering, just as much as she was, just as much as Alice was. And suddenly, Jennifer realized something. She wasn't protecting anyone with that distance. She was just causing pain to him, to Alice, to herself. Sharon was right. She was creating problems that didn't even exist yet. She was letting fear control everything. Jennifer looked at her phone. Her finger hovered over Matthew's name. But she wasn't ready yet. Not yet, but almost. She just needed a little more courage. And maybe, just maybe, she was starting to find it. A week had passed since the separation. Jennifer was in the kitchen preparing dinner when someone knocked on the door. Her heart pounded. She dropped the spoon and dried her hands on the cloth. She knew who it was. Matthew was on the other side, with tired but determined eyes. "Matthew, I know you asked for time." His voice was firm, and I tried to respect that. "But I can't anymore. I can't be away from you both. I need to talk to you, please." Jennifer looked behind her. Alice was drawing at the table. The girl looked up and saw Matthew. "Matthew!" She dropped the pencil and ran. Matthew knelt down and picked her up, hugging her as if he hadn't seen her in years. "Hi, little one. I missed you so much." "Me too. Why didn't you come anymore?" "That's what I need to talk to your mum about." He gently placed her on the floor. "Can you go back to your drawings just for a little bit?" Alice looked at Jennifer, who nodded. The girl returned to the table, but kept watching. Matthew stepped inside and closed the door. They stood in the small living room. "I gave you a week," he began. "I tried to respect your space, but this week was the worst of my life. I have everything money can buy. Houses, cars, companies, but none of that matters, nothing. Because the only thing I truly want is not in any of those places. Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. It's right here. He took a step toward her. With you. With Alice. In this small living room in this simple apartment. This is the most real thing I've ever had in my life. But our worlds are different. They're not, Matthew interrupted her. You think they are because you see the money, the companies, the photos, but that's not my world. That's my job. My world is here. It's you making pasta. It's Alice running in the park. It's us on the floor eating Chinese food. This is my world. You are my world. Jennifer covered her mouth, crying. I was scared, she admitted, very scared, of not being enough, of you realizing you could have someone better. Better? Matthew took her hands. Jennifer, you are the strongest, most incredible woman I have ever met. You raise a child alone, you work to exhaustion, you manage everything. And I don't want anyone else. I want you. Even with all my problems. I want you precisely with all of that. He wiped a tear from her face. And what we have is real, very real. And I want to build a family with you. Jennifer's heart stopped. What? I want to marry you. I want to wake up with you every day. I want to be there when you get home from work. I want to be truly part of your lives, forever. He looked deeply into her eyes. I want to build a family with you. Jennifer couldn't stop crying. But there's one thing I need to do first. Matthew stepped away and walked toward Alice. The girl stopped drawing and looked up at him. Matthew knelt down, getting to her height. Alice, can I ask you something important? Alice nodded, her eyes wide. You know that I love you and your mom, right? I know. And you know I want to be with you both forever. I know. Matthew took a deep breath. If your mommy lets me, I want to legally adopt you as my daughter. I want to be your real dad, legally, officially. The silence lasted 2 seconds. And then Alice screamed, Yay! She jumped up and threw her arms around him. You're going to be my real dad. I am, if you want me to, and if your mom lets me. Matthew looked at Jennifer, who was crying profusely. I do! Alice jumped up and down. Mommy, please let him! Matthew held Alice with one arm and extended his other hand to Jennifer. Come here. Jennifer approached, trembling. Matthew placed Alice back on the floor. Stay close right here, because this is about the three of us. He held both of Jennifer's hands and knelt down in front of her. Jennifer's eyes widened. Matthew. Jennifer Miller. His voice was emotional but firm. You showed up in my life when I least expected it, with your beautiful, awkward daughter, and in that moment, I knew I had found something special. Over the last few months, you gave me the family I always dreamed of having. You gave me true love. You made me be myself, and I don't want another day without you both. He let go of one of her hands and took a box from his pocket. Jennifer sobbed. Jennifer, will you marry me? He opened the box. Inside was a simple, delicate, perfect ring. Jennifer looked at the ring, at Matthew kneeling, at Alice beside them with eyes shining with hope. And she knew. Yes. The word came out in a whisper. Yes, 1,000 times yes, Alice screamed with joy. Matthew stood up and pulled Jennifer into a deep kiss. It was a kiss full of promises, of love, of future. When they separated, both were crying. He put the ring on her finger. Jennifer looked at the jewel and cried more. I love you, Matthew said, holding her face. I love you both more than I can explain. I love you too, Jennifer finally said the words. So much. I was just scared. You don't have to be scared anymore. He kissed her forehead. Because I will be here, always. Alice tugged on both their clothes. Can I call you Daddy now? Matthew knelt down and picked her up. You can, if you want to. I do. Alice hugged them both. Now we're a real family. Matthew extended his arm and pulled Jennifer closer, embracing both of them. The three stood there, crying and laughing together. A family. Finally. The wedding happened 3 weeks later. It was simple. In a small chapel, with only a few close friends, Sharon was there crying happy tears. James, Matthew's partner, was the best man, and Alice was the flower girl, in a lovely white dress, carrying the rings on a satin cushion. Jennifer wore a simple but beautiful white dress, which Matthew insisted on buying. Her blonde hair was loose, falling over her shoulders in soft waves. When she walked into the chapel, Matthew was waiting for her at the altar. And when their eyes met, they both knew that this was the right decision. The ceremony was quick, but every second was emotional and intense. When the priest said, "You may kiss the bride," Matthew pulled her close and kissed her with all the emotion he felt. Alice applauded along with the others, shouting "Mommy" and "Daddy" for the first time in public, and they both cried hearing it. They cried tears of pure happiness. The move happened the following weekend. Jennifer didn't have many belongings, some clothes, Alice's toys, a few personal items, everything fit into 5 boxes. When they arrived at Matthew's house, Jennifer stopped at the gate, incredulous. "You live here." It was a big house, but not ostentatious. It was beautiful, welcoming, with a front yard and huge windows that let the light in. "I used to live here." Matthew smiled and held her hand. "Now we live here, all 3 of us." He opened the door and let Jennifer and Alice enter first. The house was beautiful inside, spacious but comfortable, with tasteful furniture but not exaggerated or cold. "Come," Matthew took Alice's hand. "I want to show you something." He led her upstairs and stopped in front of a white door with delicate pink details. "This door is yours." Alice opened it slowly and was completely speechless. The room was perfect. Light pink walls, a bed with a white canopy, shelves full of new books, a beautiful desk for drawing with all the art supplies, toys organized with care, everything decorated with delicacy. "Is it mine? Is all this really mine?" "It's all yours, princess." Matthew knelt beside her. "I prepared every detail thinking of you." Alice looked around, her eyes shining with happy tears, and then threw herself into his arms. "Thank you, Daddy. Thank you so, so much." Matthew hugged her tightly, emotional, his eyes closed. Jennifer watched from the doorway, crying silently. Sharon was right from the beginning. She had almost lost all of this because of fear, but now it was here, and it was completely real. The following weeks were a period of gradual adjustment. Jennifer slowly learned to live in the big house. Matthew gently insisted that she stop working, but she preferred to continue for now. "I need time to get used to all of this," she explained, and he completely respected it. Alice adjusted quickly. She now had her own beautiful room, her own big house, and most importantly, she had a father, a real father who loved her. Matthew fulfilled every promise he made. He initiated the complicated legal process to officially adopt Alice as his daughter. It took a few months of paperwork and bureaucracy, but on the day the official document finally came through, they celebrated emotionally. Alice was now officially Alice Carter, and she couldn't stop repeating her new last name, completely proud. Jennifer felt a deep peace that she had never felt before. She no longer had to worry about overdue bills. She no longer had to wake up at 5 in the morning to catch a crowded bus. She no longer had to carry the weight of the world alone, and most important of all, she had someone beside her, someone who truly loved her, exactly the way she was. December arrived quickly. Matthew enthusiastically insisted on setting up a huge Christmas tree in the main living room. Alice was completely thrilled, helping to decorate every inch. On December 23rd, the giant tree was almost completely ready. Only one last thing was missing. "The star," Alice said excitedly, holding the large golden ornament in her hands. "We need to put the star on top." "Come here then." Matthew knelt down and picked her up, carefully lifting her high. Alice stretched her little arms as far as she could and carefully placed the star on top of the enormous tree. When it finally fit perfectly into place, the girl cheered. "I did it! It's perfect." "It is beautiful, really." Matthew held her tightly, looking at the illuminated tree. Jennifer quietly approached the two of them and hugged them from behind, wrapping her arms around both. Matthew turned his head and kissed her softly on the lips. "Happy?" he asked softly, just for her to hear. "Happier than I can put into words." Jennifer looked at Alice in his arms, at the beautiful illuminated tree, at that room that was now their home. "I never thought I could have this. A real family, a real home." "Now you do," Matthew squeezed the three of them in a hug. "Now we have everything." Alice rested her little blonde head on Matthew's broad shoulder and held her mother's hand affectionately. "We're a real family now, right, Mummy?" "We always were a family," Jennifer said with tears of pure happiness in her eyes. "Since the first day we met him, it just took me a little while to realize and accept it." Matthew looked with deep love at the two light-eyed blonde women who had completely changed his life. He had absolutely everything: money, professional success, public recognition. But none of that mattered anymore. Because right there, in that room, with those two precious people, he had found the only thing truly worthwhile in life: true love, real family, a true home. The colorful lights of the tree twinkled softly, reflecting in the bright, happy eyes of the three of them. Outside, and the snow was starting to fall softly, covering everything with a white, pure blanket. And inside that warm house, a family was perfectly complete, a family formed not by blood or obligation, but by conscious choice, by genuine love, by a simple paper airplane and a completely unexpected encounter that changed everything forever. It was the beginning of the family they all deserved, and it was just the beginning of a lifetime together, because the best was still to come. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like, because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.